All right, let's jump right into a fascinating real estate story. It's about an NRI couple who invested back home in India, and what seemed like a really smart financial decision, well, it turned into a lesson that cost them crores. So here's the big question, and it sounds kind of like a riddle, right? How on earth can a profit of nearly 30 lakh rupees on a property sale somehow be a massive financial regret? Well, that's the puzzle we're going to unpack today. And get this isn't some made-up scenario. This entire story comes from a real report in the Economic Times. It's a real-world cautionary tale, and it really shines a light on some of the risks people don't think about when they're investing from another country. Okay, so to really understand the twist here, we first have to look at the whole thing from a pure Indian rupee point of view. And you know what? From this angle, everything looks pretty darn good. Okay, let's trace this journey. It all starts way back in 2010. The couple buys a 3-bedroom apartment. Now, there were some pretty big delays, so they didn't even get possession until 2019, but then they started renting it out. Fast forward to 2024, and they sell it for a much higher price. A classic long-term investment, right? Let's crunch the numbers in rupees, because on the surface, this looks like a clear win. After all the taxes and fees, the sale brought in almost 85 lakh. You add in the rental income, and they've got a total return of over 92 lakh. Subtract what they paid for it initially, and they've walked away with a clean profit of almost 29 lakh rupees. Not bad at all, you'd think. But, and this is a huge but, here's where the story takes a sharp and, frankly, a pretty brutal turn. See, this couple, they live their lives and earn their money in US dollars. So the real question is, what does this profit look like when you convert it back into their actual currency? This is the one question that just changes the entire picture. Because while the property's value was going up in rupees, something else was changing too, the value of the rupee itself. And boom, look at this. The impact is just staggering. That nearly 29 lakh rupee gain, it shrinks all the way down to just about 8,500 US dollars. So why did this happen? Well, over those 15 years, the rupee's value fell from around 45 to the dollar to about 85. That one single factor just vaporized almost all of their gains. So when you spread that tiny profit out over 15 long years, their annual return comes out to 0.5%, 0.5%. I mean, you can get a better return than that in a basic savings account with absolutely zero risk and none of the hassle. But you know what? The grim financial numbers, they don't even tell the whole story, not by a long shot. Beyond the laughably low return, there were some major unseen burdens that came with owning this property. For one, the rental income was just weak. Their gross yield was only about 2.25%. Now, most financial experts will tell you that for an NRI investing in Indian property to make any sense, you need a net yield somewhere in the 3.5 to 5% range. This place wasn't even close. And then there's all the stuff you can't really put on a spreadsheet. The human cost. The constant stress of managing a property from thousands of miles away, chasing down rent, handling repairs, trying to figure out all the complex paperwork and taxes. And to top it all off, when they wanted to sell, it wasn't easy. The property just wasn't very liquid. Okay, now for the part that really, really stings. The true loss here wasn't just the tiny profit. It was the opportunity cost. It was about asking, what could that same money have done if we'd put it somewhere else? And the difference is just mind-blowing. Look at this. Their real estate investment ended up netting them about $120,000. But what if they had just taken that same initial investment and put it into a simple passive S&P 500 index fund? Well, it could have grown to over $330,000 in the exact same amount of time. So that gap, the difference between what they made and what they could have made, is over $210,000. And when you convert that back into Indian rupees, that's an opportunity cost of roughly 1.8 crore. This is the real source of the regret. So wow, after walking through all of that, what are the big takeaways? What should anyone, especially an NRI investor, learn from this incredibly expensive lesson? Well, it really boils down to 4 crucial principles. First, and this is the big one, always do the math in the currency you actually live in and earn in. Second, never forget opportunity cost. Always ask yourself, what else could this money be doing for me? Third, focus on real fundamentals, like strong rental income and being able to sell easily, instead of just hoping the price goes up. And finally, ignore the hype about the next hot area and just focus on the cold, hard numbers.
And I think this is just the perfect way to wrap it all up. The investor's final thought wasn't that property is a bad investment, not at all. It's that you have to be absolutely ruthless with the numbers. Emotions, family ties, that's all important. But when it comes to your money, the math has to come first.